Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back. You know what it is. Here we are again. My dog Andrew and I. This is the Sit Down Sports Edition, going over week 6. What we saw in week 6, and it was
a great week for football.
It was a roller coaster.
It was a good one.
There was a couple of shocking wins and losses. I would say.
We're definitely gonna have to go over your biggest upset because there was a few.
I think I already know mine.
But I mean, let's just jump right into it.
Let's dive right in and let's go for it.
First game on the docket. Broncos, Pats. Broncos got the dub, but it wasn't pretty.
Yes, they did. 6 field goals in that game? Drew Lock didn't score a touchdown.
Didn't score a touchdown. He had 2 picks. Drew Lock looked sloppy. I'm going to be honest. Hold on. Let me fix. He looked sloppy as soon as he got inside the 30-yard line.
Agreed. And you want to know what? I also think that... Who's your coach? Who's your head coach?
Vic Fangio.
Or let me say this. Who's your offensive coordinator?
God, I don't remember.
Well, whoever he is, he was also playing very conservative. If you look at the play calls, they were trying to keep him out of harm's way, I think. So it was partially him being sloppy, and I also think partially he was kind of tied down by the play calls. I think they got really kind of scared when they got in the red zone there.
Yeah, I mean his first quarter was good. He threw like 97 yards in the first quarter, but after that he didn't really do anything.
Nope.
10 of 24. That's gross. 2 picks, also gross.
Yeah.
But you have to look at that running game. Philip Lindsay ran the ball 4.4 yards a carry, had a 100-yard day.
Yeah,
his first game back since week 2.
Right.
Week 1. I'm sorry, he left halfway through the week 1 game. But really, I think the defense was a story of this game. Both defenses played
well.
Pretty bend but don't break.
Yeah.
Broncos defense got at Cam Newton. Cam Newton is still 0-4 against the Broncos. After this loss, he was 0-4.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are 2-3 now.
Yeah, it's ugly.
It's strange because I feel like we were talking about the Patriots being this contender at first. I mean, granted, they had 1 game without Cam, and that was against Kansas City. So that's a loss in the first place.
Which hurt. I think if you look at the Kansas City game and you look at Kansas City, you look at this game, and you look at the Seahawks, all 3 of those games, I feel like they should have won those.
Sure.
So it would be a whole different story.
And they're tight games that were. I mean, the Seahawks game wasn't, but the Kansas City game and this game
was a lot of to the last play.
Right, exactly. It was a lot of it was. I wasn't saying they weren't close. I was saying, that was a high-scoring game, pretty much. Both of them were at 30 points.
Gotcha.
Kansas City and the Broncos game were both very low-scoring. Yep. Defense pretty much all the way throughout. Kansas City really only started scoring points towards the end of the game. New England's defense is really good.
Yeah.
And they're missing a lot of pieces.
Definitely. Yep. I was, my final takeaway from that whole game was like I said, I thought the Broncos defense applied a ton of pressure, especially up the middle too.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure up the middle, which I think was the thing that won you guys the game.
Mm-hmm.
I also think the fact that the Patriots had two practices in 2 weeks didn't help them either.
And I think the NFL does that kind of on purpose. They did it to Tennessee and they did it to New England as well, where they're kind of saying, all right, well, you're going to be irresponsible and get COVID. This is going to be your repercussions. You get a short week and you got to just play football.
You get what you deserve. I mean, it happens.
Right, and it does happen. But I'm happy with how the Broncos offense looked up until they got into the 30-yard line. It's disconcerting getting into field goal range 6 times. And then even a 7th time, they were in field goal range, but they had a few penalties, dumb mistakes, stuff like that, so they got knocked out. And they couldn't put up a single touchdown.
Right, that's
upsetting.
Nervous. Yeah.
We did have our big red zone target out, Noah Fant, not there. Cortland Sutton, obviously out for the year. Melvin Gordon, the guy who's been scoring touchdowns on the ground for us lately, also out.
So he was hurt, right?
He was sick, but also dealing with, he had DUI last week. So he's probably going to get suspended. A lot of stuff happened with the Broncos right now, but again, everyone's dealing with it. Mm-hmm. But got the win. It was ugly, down and dirty, but see where New England goes from here.
Yeah, I'm not down on New England yet. Because even though they lost that game,
there were 3 very tight games against good teams.
Yeah, and the only thing that makes me nervous is that if Cam Newton doesn't play lights out, we're in big trouble. Because that offense is
he needs help.
Yucky. It is yuck. They're looking at getting in Ngakoue.
They very well should.
From the Browns.
Anyone who's got a name that can be recognized by 20% of football fans, the Patriots should be looking to sign.
Supposedly he asked for a trade from Cleveland, so we'll see. We'll see. We would need that. That would be huge to get a good tight end threat.
It would be a big deal.
Especially with how that offense has been the past 15 years, having significant tight end threats the whole time.
That usually helps out a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's hop over to a thriller. Texans-Titans. Derrick Henry was amazing. I was watching some old episodes that we had, and I'm kicking myself because I was crapping on the Titans.
Me too.
I think this is the second best team in football currently.
I would agree. Behind who you think Seahawks? Yeah.
Yeah, currently. I mean, obviously Kansas City had one bad game, so I mean, until the Titans lose, which they're versus the Steelers this upcoming week, so that's probably 2 and 3 right there.
Yeah.
For right now, whoever wins that game is probably going to shoot up to the top of the rankings. In my mind.
I would agree with that.
Tennessee's really good offensively.
Yeah.
Offensively, Ryan Tannehill's lights out. Derrick Henry's a beast. I think he hit 21.6 miles per hour on that 94 yard
I was listening to Pat McAfee this morning. He was like, dude, he's speeding in school zones with that amount of speed.
And with that size, he's a truck.
It's only 240, 6'4", runs 21.6 miles an hour top speed, 94 miles an hour. And here was his quote. He said, "Too slow."
Yeah, he's a freak. They have great wide receivers, great offensive line. Ryan Tannehill's playing lights out. Taylor Lewan, I believe he's out
for the season.
But that defense, not good.
No, not at all.
It's struggling a lot, and I'm very interested to see how they do against Pittsburgh next week.
That secondary was very suspect.
Yeah.
Very suspect. But I was impressed by Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
You know, him had pretty much having to play behind the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
And he was willing his team there. You know, obviously J.J. Watt had that really nice strip sack. That was huge. That got them back into scoring territory, I think, towards the end of the game. That tied it up to go into OT. But, yeah, it was the reaction of Deshaun Watson on that coin toss in overtime said it all. That's all you needed to know.
As soon as it happened, he knew.
He just threw his hands up and I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, you probably shouldn't do that on like national television.
I think it's because he's a competitor. He wants the ball. He wants the game in his hands, which I think the NFL needs to take a serious look at. What are you doing for overtime? Where you're granted, you got to say the defense had a chance to stop him a whole drive, but I really think the offensive game that the NFL is right now and the high stakes and the athletes that the competitors that these guys are, these offenses
the score deserves another opportunity.
Right, these offenses are going to immediately pull out all the stops to put up a touchdown on that first drive.
And especially this season where it really kind of seems like the offense, especially now, is starting to catch up. At the start of the season, it was very defensively prominent, the NFL.
Sure.
Which made sense because the offenses weren't able to really build a rapport. But now, as you said, right, the NFL is starting to get back into shape in terms of it's just such an offensively dominant league. You just can't stop it.
Right. Most teams the winning team in most games are putting up over 30 points.
Yep, over 28 points a game.
Right.
That's what wins you football now.
So I mean, obviously, if you're a Texans fan, you gotta be frustrated. But look at the bright side.
Definitely.
When you're the first 4 games of the season, you got no turnovers. As soon as you start getting turnovers, you're competitive again.
Yep.
They won last week, and they're very competitive with one of the best teams in football.
Yeah.
So, look up. You're okay. A lot of these AFC teams that are in that wild card spot are showing a lot of vulnerabilities.
Exactly right.
And if the Texans can go on a run, you're looking at a 10-6, 9-7, maybe a playoff break.
And I'll say this: the Texans do that against 70% of the league.
They're going to win, right?
They win. It's just unfortunately they went up against, like we had talked about, a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
And the Titans in it, but like you had said, Texans fans, I'm actually up on the Texans off that game because for them to do that, especially against a team like that, and even get it to overtime, they really had no business even getting to overtime. But the fact that they were able to do that and fight from behind the entirety of the game, that speaks a lot on the quality of that team.
And just like the word you use, it's going to be a fight the rest of the season. If this team wants to do anything meaningful, they're going to have to fight. Margin for error very low, but I think they can do it.
Agreed.
This one made me upset. Steelers, Browns, Steelers just absolutely.
Absolute stomping.
Yeah.
Stomping.
Steelers defense really showed why they want to be considered the number one defense in the league.
Which I think they are.
The offense the score is deceiving. The offense really wasn't moving early in the game. They really scored a lot of their points towards the end of the game, put up a lot of those yards.
They wore him down. James Conner had a nice game.
Chase Claypool started getting...
Mapletron. That's such a great nickname, dude. I love that nickname, Mapletron. That's awesome.
He really started getting going in that second half. But the Browns offense was... You got to put up more than 7 points.
And you want to know what? Well, I don't think we need to talk too much about this game. I'll just say this. 3 things. Baker Mayfield, if he doesn't do something this year, they need to get rid of him.
I agree.
And I'll say, and this is why. When your 2 star wide receivers and pretty much your whole offense is giving up on you in the body language of what they showed, what it was, that's not good. That is not good.
Yep.
And the other thing with Baker Mayfield, and I don't know this is just from what I've been hearing from analytics and stuff like that, and people who watch and who are pro players, things like that, they always say, if that first read isn't there, he just gets happy feet and he doesn't know what to do with himself. That's a problem.
Yep.
Because the first read usually is not going to be there. This is the NFL. This is the NFL. Why do you think you have a 4-man wide receiving core every single time?
Yep.
You're going to have to progress through reads. If you can't do that, and this is his 4th year?
Third year? Third or 4th.
Either one. That's not good. That's not good.
No.
That's a problem.
He has a good defense.
Yes.
Which Steelers put up 38 because the offense put them in bad situation.
Exactly right. Every time, by the way.
Great wide receivers, great running game, great offensive line, and your team only puts up 7 points. And you have great coaching as well. This coaching staff is good. Who's it on? It's on you, Baker. You got to step up, make some plays. I know you're hurt. I know you got some rib injuries. You were questionable to even play in the game. But if you're going to step onto that field and play,
you better bring it.
You better damn well play.
That's it. And that's my thing. Rib injury or not, that doesn't excuse a performance like that.
No. If you're and Baker wouldn't make that his excuse.
Definitely.
But if that is why you didn't play well, you shouldn't have played.
Right. And they'll talk about another injury in Granted. By some Tom Brady fan, right? He gets 18 to 20 stitches on his throwing hand. And he goes to the Super Bowl and hangs 505 and almost wins the game.
Yep.
I mean, when you talk about injuries, you know what I'm saying? That's my whole point, though.
Good quarterbacks make it work.
Exactly right. Yep.
This one was
surprising.
Crazy. Crazy towards the end of this game. They were a 2-point conversion away from tying the game. But Ravens pulled it out 30-28. Lamar Jackson looks like he's hitting his ceiling.
Yeah. I was about to say the same thing. I think Lamar Jackson, he saw Lamar Jackson out.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think now, is that offense too Lamar Jackson heavy? Did they cater that offense too much to him as to where now it's predictable?
So, I know you don't like this guy, but I was listening to Colin Cowherd on the way over here. And he was comparing quarterbacks to salt.
Okay.
Salt makes everything better.
Sure.
You can add pretty much salt to anything. You could add salt to chocolate. You could add it to steak. You could add it to eggs. You add it to whatever. And it makes it good. You put too much salt on something,
makes it bad.
Takes away the flavor, makes it bad. Lamar Jackson is getting into habits where he's doing too much. And we talked about this with Patrick Mahomes last week. Weren't running the ball very well. So he was trying to do too much. Lamar's trying to do too much. He's fading way too far back into the pocket.
Off the back,
he's trying to do crazy things. He walks like 15 yards on a sack trying to make some crazy thing happen. People know what you're going to do, Lamar. And you want to say you're a quarterback and you're not a running back. Plant your feet and throw the damn football.
Exactly right.
And he's having a hard time making that happen. This is like I believe it's the 3rd time this year where he's thrown for under 200 yards.
Yep.
I don't know how many touchdowns he threw for.
He threw for 1 touchdown. He went 16 for 27, 186 in the air, and 1 touchdown.
That's under 60%.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that in the NFL,
and then you talk about being a throwing quarterback.
Right.
He had 9 attempts running the ball for 108 yards and a touchdown. He averaged 12 yards a run.
Right. So
one-dimensional.
It is
gets beat.
Right, it is one-dimensional, and that's when you get 15-yard sacks.
And it gets beat.
Right.
One-dimensional gets beat in the NFL.
You do this against any other team other than the Eagles,
You're in trouble.
you're in a lot of trouble.
Yep. I would say even a team like the Patriots will be able to take care of something like that. And the Patriots are not that good.
Right, and that's where their first loss came from.
Right?
They lost to the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think they lost to the Chiefs?
One-dimensional football.
One-dimensional football. Andy Reid's going to pick that apart all day.
Always. And that's the thing. You see that with Lamar Jackson a lot. I mean, even though Lamar Jackson has beat the Patriots every time he's played them so far, he goes up against good coaches, and he has trouble.
Also, going to the other team, say what you want about Carson Wentz.
He played his butt off.
He fought hard.
He played his butt off.
He wanted that win so bad, but
Yep.
you can only do so much throwing lawn chairs.
21 for 40, 213, and 2 touchdowns in the air.
He fought hard.
Yeah.
Hard. Just watching him play was inspiring. I wanted to get out there and play. I was like, come on, Carson, I'll help you out. Let's go.
And like you had said there, when you're throwing the lawn chairs, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time. And I don't know what it is. Why are the Eagles always decimated by injuries? Why is it always the Eagles? Do they like draft like injury-prone people, or like
something about Philadelphia?
Is it the air, or what is it? I don't know, but yeah, it's the Ravens are in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, don't sound.
I mean,
the
they're
alarms
5-1.
Don't sound the alarms, but
right. They'll make the playoffs. They'll do.
Right.
They might win a divisional game, but like seeing them go anything past that, they're having a hard time.
I can't see that. Yeah.
Usually they're good at beating bad teams. They struggled.
Yep.
Wasn't pretty. Giants football team. You and I saw this. A lot of other people did, and I was looking at people's game picks. Everyone was like, "Oh, pick and watch."
Nope. Giants.
Giants are getting better every single week. They're not good, but they're getting better. So they came close to beating Dallas last week, and then they showed up and got a W.
Right. You know, and I hear a lot of people talking about, it was cheap. Washington should have gone for the 1 point, one extra point instead of the 2-point conversion. I mean, listen, you want to win or do you want to tie? A win is a win.
Coaching is a part of the game as well.
And that's Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is a shooting.
He's a part of the football team.
He shoots from the hip. He's gonna go for it. He gambles. That's what he does.
That's one of those things where you get it, they praise you, you miss.
Exactly.
You're damned.
Yeah, you're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. Honestly.
If you kicked a field goal and then they lost in overtime,
right.
you'll say, well, you should.
Right. Exactly right. But no, I thought I think the thing with the Giants, which they're starting to understand now, similar to what we keep talking about, Andrew, if you can keep things simple, stay out of your own way, and just do what you're supposed to do, you got a shot. Because every team is talented, minus the Jets.
Minus the Jets.
Minus the Jets, but honestly, if you just stay out of your... Daniel Jones, 12 for 19, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Doesn't take much.
112 yards in the air.
And Daniel Jones is one of those people where he'll throw really well, and then he'll have one boneheaded play that ruins the whole drive, and that's what that interception was.
Yep.
He threw a throw to the back of the end zone that looked like a fade route to the defender.
It was ugly. I mean, listen, the New York Giants had 244 total yards for the game.
Dubs. That's it.
It's a win.
It's a win.
It's a win. It don't matter how you get them, as long as you get
You
them.
gotta fight and make it work.
That's
and
it.
they fought and made it work. I'm interested to see how the Giants do the rest of this year because, like I said, they're getting better every week.
Agreed. And I would say, Washington, they are in trouble.
They better hope the Jets win the game because they need Trevor.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, obviously the other guy is Justin Fields, who's looking really good out of college as well. I think that's something they got to look at because really, again, I think they're similar to. I wouldn't say similar, but a lot more akin to the Browns. They got a lot of young pieces on defense.
Right.
They have some good wide receivers. They could use a running back. But really, it falls on quarterback play. Quarterback play is not there. Kyle Allen, not playing very well.
No.
Alex Smith, maybe they'll throw him into the game next week.
It made me uncomfortable watching that, dude.
It did.
It made me uncomfortable.
It did. But we'll see what happens. I mean, neither one of these teams is really worth talking about too much, but I'm interested to see how the Giants do.
Agreed.
Falcons, Vikings. Falcons got their first win. What does this tell you about Dan Quinn?
That was going to be my only talking point. I think it speaks volumes. I think it does speak volumes. And my question was, why did Julio pop off for a whole bunch of yards and a touchdown. And he didn't have a touchdown the whole year. Julio Jones went for... Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Julio Jones went for, let's see, 8 receptions, 137 yards, and 2 touchdowns on 10 targets. That was the best game he had all year. Mm-hmm. Why wasn't that a thing the whole season?
Bad coaching. Matt Ryan went off too. How did that?
Yeah.
Something about Dan Quinn. I don't know what he was saying in that locker room or what he was doing with these guys, but this is the first time this year they've gotten a lead and kept it.
And you want to know what's crazy? This is what the Falcons could have been the whole year.
Absolutely.
If they played like this, they would probably be 4-1.
If you did not watch any football, didn't know any records for the first 5 weeks, and I showed you the box score for this game, you'd say, "Oh, well, the Falcons must be 4-2, 5-1." Right. It looked like a different football team.
Yeah, it was alarming.
Yeah.
Which, again, like you had said, Andrew, which I think you were going to say, coaching, I guess clearly it really does make a difference. And from what it looked like, the Falcons just didn't want to play for that dude.
Yep.
They just didn't want to do it. I don't know if he.
I don't know what he was telling those players where, they just wouldn't play well in the second half. Or
I mean, the Falcons were up 23-0 in the third quarter, dominating.
And they won.
Dominating.
They didn't lose.
I know, and it wasn't even close.
Right.
They pretty much kept that point difference the whole game after that. It was.
It's a good game. Vikings look bad.
Yeah, they did terrible.
I guess it was a fluke game last week where they got the dub, but they look bad.
Yeah, the Vikings are not. I think I'm out on them now.
Who's your next guy on the hot seat? Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, seriously.
What are you gonna do? They decided to pick up the option for Kirk Cousins, pay him some more money, give him more money, and then all of a sudden now
I don't know why.
How's it looking?
I mean, he never has looked it, though.
He's got good receivers.
He never has looked it, to be honest.
He's got good receivers. He had a good running back. I mean, he was hurt this past game, but come on, you got to make it work.
Shit, tell me.
And they got a brand new, gorgeous-looking wide receiver, Justin Jefferson. And Adam Thielen's still there, looking good.
Very.
And you got to look around and say, well, what the heck is the problem?
Yeah.
It's Kirk Cousins. What do you do?
Yeah, seriously.
Let's hop over to Lions-Jaguars. Lions 34, Jaguars 16.
Smacked them. But you want to know what was funny is that after I had made my pick saying that the Jaguars were going to win, and I started watching the game, I was like, I messed up. Because you want to know what, though? I think, like you had said, Matt Stafford coming off a bye, having a week to study.
Yep.
And Matt Stafford's still a good quarterback.
He is.
And I think he is severely underappreciated and underrecognized. That dude he's cold, man.
He's the opposite. He's the opposite of Kirk Cousins on the Vikings and Baker Mayfield on the. I mean, I would love to see Matt Stafford go to the Browns.
What?
That team would be nasty.
Matt Stafford is dependable.
Matt Stafford's never been the problem, and that's why he's still there.
Exactly.
He's never been the problem in Detroit.
Even after a back surgery.
Right. He's never been the problem in Detroit. It's always been their defense is rough, or they don't give him the right weapons. I mean, granted, he had Calvin Johnson a while back.
I mean,
and he's got Kenny Galladay now, and he's putting up numbers.
And look what they did together.
Right.
I mean,
running game and coaching has always been their issue.
And tell you what, DeAndre Swift, 14 rushes for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns.
No coincidence that they won.
Hot.
Right.
He's the first rookie in Lions franchise history to actually do that. So.
There you go.
Fun fact for you. Or actually, no, that's a lie. Since 1989. My apologies.
Oh, I wonder who that 89 guy was.
Barry.
Oklahoma State alum. Shout out.
Shouts. The man's a legend. But yeah, Jaguars are what they are.
Still one of those things. It's so frustrating because I'm watching Gardner Minshew play, and he's not bad.
No.
He's not bad. And it stinks because if they're ever bad enough to the point where they're going to take a quarterback, he's going to get shipped somewhere else and succeed. I'm 100% sure of it. He's going to go somewhere else and he's going to do well. Put him on the Browns. He'd do better than Baker's doing. Because Gardner Minshew, when you watch him play, like you said, Baker looks like he's got happy feet when he gets first read's not there. Gardner's not that guy.
He stands in.
Keeps his head downfield.
He's
monitoring the field. He makes a play happen. Imagine you give him Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham and a good running game and a good offensive line.
And Ngakoue.
And a good defense. And Ngakoue. And Austin Hooper. Gardner Minshew, he'd be mustache mania all over again. Like he would be winning football games.
That Browns offense is so loaded. It's crazy. I don't know why they're so bad, but
yeah. So I feel bad for Gardner Minshew because he does have some good receivers. He's got Keenan Cole. He's got DJ Chark. Some good guys on there.
They're just outmatched a lot of times. Just pure talent-wise, they're just outmatched.
But you're right. It's so easy to defend an offense that's so one-dimensional, and that's so limited in terms of talent at every other position other than wide receiver or quarterback. So, what are you gonna do? Like
exactly right.
Gus, is it Gus Bradley? No, it's Doug Marrone.
Doug Marrone. Yeah.
Doug Marrone's not exactly lighting up the sky with good coaching either.
Nah, definitely not.
So Jaguars are the Jaguars, like you said. Bengals, Colts, it was so upsetting watching, even though I picked the Colts, it was so upsetting watching the Bengals just kind of blow it away.
So disappointing.
Joe Burrow, again, he's so good. So good. But that Bengals defense is so bad.
So bad.
Philip Rivers looked like he was finally hitting his stride after his team went down 21-0. His team went down 21-0. All of a sudden he said, "Oh, I can play quarterback? I forgot."
I think that Bengals defense also helped him out too. They gave him everything under the face of the sun at that point.
Sure. But watching some of the throws he was making, he looked good. Props to Philip Rivers, made it happen. Came back, won the game.
T. Higgins to the Bengals. But snapping.
Yeah, the Colts are confusing. Because they lost to the Browns last week, and they almost lost to the Bengals this week, but they're 4-2. Are you good or are you not good?
Right. I'll say this. I think when the rubber really has to meet the concrete, I'm not with it. I'm not going to ride with them.
No. They're going to be a team that might make the playoffs, but they're not going to be a team that's going to go anywhere.
Because I'll say this. You give up 21 points to a Ravens, or a Kansas City Chiefs, or a Titans, or a Bills,
or Packers,
or Seahawks. I would even go as far as say maybe even a Patriots.
Sure.
You're not winning that football game. Even Denver, you're probably not going to win that football game.
Nope.
And again, Denver and the Patriots are not that scary.
No.
But those other teams are.
Right.
So, over half the league, if you give up 21 points, you're not coming back from that.
Yeah.
You're not coming back. I think they just got lucky that they had happened to play the Bengals that day. But again, I'm not in on Indianapolis. I don't trust them. I don't like Philip Rivers. I'll say it to the day he retires. I do not think he's what he's made out to be.
And he's going to be holding the Lombardi. You're going to be like, "Go away! You're not good!"
Try to throw that, asshole.
But yeah, the Colts are, they're just confusing.
Very much so.
It is a bizarre instance.
But I will say though, that was nice of them to actually close out that 21-point deficit. 'Cause you still have to put in work to do that. So kudos to them for doing that.
That's what I was gonna say. Here's a Scott Hansen stat for you.
Okay.
Shout out to Scott Hansen.
Scotty boy.
On NFL Red Zone, he said every single week of the NFL season has never happened before so far. This was before the Colts came back and won. A team has come back and won a football game after being down by 16 points at any point.
Wow.
Every single week.
That's crazy.
At least one team has done it. And the Colts did it this week. So that's 6 straight weeks, never been done before.
And it'll probably happen next week too. Honestly.
I'm excited to see
how
it.
crazy the season's been.
It was funny because as soon as I saw the Bengals go up, I was like, all right, Scott, what do we got? We got to come back to the Colts? All right, Phil, let's see it.
All right, Scotty boy, let's see.
Jets, Dolphins. I want to make this as brief as I did the predictions when we went over it.
Yeah.
Dolphins are better than the Jets.
Yes. That's all we need to say.
Also,
Tua
is starting next week.
Yes.
Not next week, I'm sorry. They have a bye week. And then after
week
that bye
7.
week, Tua will start.
Week 8, I should say. So week 8, he'll be starting.
Very excited for that, man. He got to play a little bit at the end of this game. Threw 2 passes.
Didn't do much,
passes.
but
No, it was just to get his feet wet.
Of course.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is his biggest cheerleader, which I love seeing. That's awesome. Very excited for Tua to step into the game and make something happen.
I'm curious to see what he's going to do. Very excited.
They're in the middle of the playoff hunt, too.
Yeah.
They're only 1 game behind in their division. This either tells you a lot about what the Dolphins really think about the rest of their season, or it tells you a lot about what they think about Tua. They either think that we're not going to. I know we're a game behind, but it's not. Don't worry about the rest of the season. It's not looking that good anyway. Or they think Tua's just that good, and they think, hey, Tua's going to lead us to the promised land.
Hopefully it's the latter.
Right.
Hopefully it's the latter. I would like to think it is.
Because Ryan Fitzpatrick's leaving on a high note.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I would be conflicted to actually not keep him in, to be honest with you. Because it's one of those things that you're trying to win games or you're trying to experiment.
I think it just tells you a lot about what the Dolphins organization's priorities are.
Mm-hmm.
Their priority is clearly Tua instead of, well, win now with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick's not your future. He's not. He's got a few years left as a veteran quarterback who's going to teach and mentor quarterbacks, but he's not going to be your Super Bowl quarterback.
Right.
And the Dolphins know that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get Tua in the game. Let's put him in. Let's give him a bye week. Let's let him prepare.
Right. Let's give him a chance.
He knows he's going to play. I'm excited.
I am too.
Really excited for it.
And kudos to Brian Flores for doing that.
Absolutely.
That takes a lot of that takes big guts to
take a winning quarterback and say, all right, you know what?
Yep.
We're gonna put the rookie in.
Yep. Well, so we missed these. So let's go back one because we missed the game.
Did
Bears
I skip
Panthers.
one? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Which honestly, this was.
So ready on my screen, it's orange and blue, and then orange and blue.
Yeah,
so
same. Yep.
I just accidentally skipped it.
But this game didn't really. There's not much to talk about.
No, Bears are good. Panthers are average.
Yep. Defensive game. Bears defense won that football game.
Yeah.
Nick Foles didn't lose it. That's really what it came down to.
Coaching's
honestly.
scary because they're throwing the football at the tail end of that game. They could have ran the ball and tried to get a first down, made the Panthers use a timeout. Instead, they threw it incomplete, had to punt. Panthers go into a drive with a timeout. Luckily, that defense stepped up. But the Bears are one of those teams, again, like, they are 5-1. They've beaten some good teams, but, like, when you watch them play, they don't look like a 5-1 team. They look like they're scraping out wins every single time. But I mean, hey, if you can keep it up, you can keep it up.
And that's it.
They could fight for that division win at some point against a team like the Packers,
right?
Who, you know, when they lose big, which we're going to talk about right after we finish with this Bears Panthers. Breaking news from when we just heard. Christian McCaffrey will most likely not be back for Week 7 because the Panthers, I do believe, have a bye.
Which is scary. Which is scary because it's you need him. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna win football games, you need your best player.
Yep.
You need your best player, and that was the one thing that you keep hearing about Christian McCaffrey. When he gets injured, he gets injured. Mm-hmm. It's not a 1 weeker or a 2 weeker. It's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. You know, when it comes down to NFL, you know, that's a quarter to sometimes a half of your season.
Yep.
You're coming back with you lose 4 of those 7 games, you're in big trouble now.
And currently this is a 3-3 team. They're on the brink.
Right.
They're at the crossroads where, I mean, 6 weeks into the season, you're not halfway there, but you're just before halfway there. Halfway is often sometimes too late, but they're at that turning point right now where, all right, are you going to start winning football games and putting a playoff push out there? Or are you going to start losing games to good teams or average teams and sink your season?
Right. And then, like you had said, that's right where they're at right now. That is right where they're at. Yep. Okay.
Let's hop over to Packers, Bucks.
This was a shocker.
So, another Colin Cowherd stat. Aaron Rodgers in his career, when he is down by any points, whether it be 1 point, 3, or 10, at any point during the game, he is under 500.
Wow. Did not know that. Also, fun fact, he's only thrown 3 pick sixes in his whole career.
Yep.
That's impressive. Tom Brady's thrown 2 this season.
If you watch the Packers play this game, I think a lot of this is about how the Packers lost and not how the Bucks won. To me, at least.
See, I would go the opposite way, honestly.
The Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks. His first pick, he said, all right, my bad. We'll go out there, make it happen. After that second one, it felt like he gave up. It felt like he threw in the towel. He was like, all right, whatever. Like, game's lost, game's gone. It was still the second quarter.
Right.
It was very strange watching that happen because for most quarterbacks, right? Most big name quarterbacks, you got Russell Wilson, you got guys like Patrick Mahomes, even Lamar Jackson, maybe not so much recently, but we've seen it.
Right.
they can go out there and consistently keep putting up points, keep doing their thing, keep pounding the line. Right, keep clawing. After they got that first touchdown, and Rodgers did his little pelvic thrust.
That was so funny, bro.
the Bucks put up 38 points, and you put up none after that. He's the best quarterback to only put up 10 points.
Agree. And I'll say this, I think, BA, he said this stupid thing. He's like, yeah, I think we confused Aaron Rodgers. No, you didn't. A quarterback who's been playing the league that long, there's nothing you can do to confuse him. This is exactly what happened. You sent the dogs all day long. Mm-hmm. They blitzed on 60% of the snaps after they had got a lead.
And they
were the Buccaneers.
And they were pretty much the Packers were pretty much at full power too. They had Devontae Adams. They had
Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm. Had Aaron Rodgers,
right.
Obviously. So there's really no reason for you to have played as bad as you did.
Well, I think, what I really think, and this is a perfect example, if you put pressure on quarterbacks that have a lot of arm talent, that arm talent starts to dissipate.
Sure.
And I think what really kind of summarized the whole thing, that whole game, is, Aaron Rodgers trying to step into a throw, and Devontae White just coming up and just shoulder checking him. And just push him, didn't even put his shoulder into him, just pushed him underneath his arm and just threw him to the ground. That was the whole epitome of the game. That was all day long. And Ndamukong Suh got there, Devontae White got there. It was that front seven. They had a fun time that day because they, like I said, Todd Bowles just said, pin your ears down and just go to work because you're not going to run it anymore. You're down too many points. When you become one-dimensional, it becomes easy to stop.
And this is a since you mentioned that, I'm going to check to see how often they ran the ball this game. But while we're looking up that, you have the Packers, when they lose football games, they lose bad. Notice it last year.
Mm-hmm. It's 49ers.
Every single game they lost was a blowout. They got annihilated. So you get to a point where Aaron Rodgers is 10 years or so into his career, 12 years maybe, I'm not exactly sure. I believe 12 years into his career, probably longer, I'm probably misquoting. 14, I think, maybe 2006. And this is what your team does. This is your identity. This is who you are. You lose games. If you lose games, you lose big.
Right.
That's a problem. I think that's a problem for the young guys on your team who are, more affected by things like that. We know you're a stone cold killer, Aaron Rodgers. We know. But you have to put up some fight in these games that are against good football teams, and you're getting down, but you're getting pressured, but then start running the ball more. Like, Aaron Jones ran the ball 10 times. Why are you spreading out your carries so much? Mm-hmm. 5 carries to A.J. Dillon, 4 carries to Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones rushed 10 times for 15 yards.
And Rodgers ran twice.
1.5 yards a carry for your best running back.
So it was really...
I don't know if he got hurt at some point.
I don't think so. But really, in terms of the dispersion, 35 throws, 35 passing attempts to really 19 rushing attempts. Aaron Rodgers, those two, those are scrambles trying to run for his life.
Right. Once you start feeling that pressure, hand the ball off. Give the ball to your top 5 running back in the league and let him make plays. Mm-hmm. He has the capability of doing that. Couldn't make it happen. Packers are weird. And I know it's maybe just me overreacting. I'm sure I'm going to pick them to win next week, but it is strange to see them lose by that much to a Bucs team that's very sometimes here, sometimes there.
I'll tell you what, I think this is what the Bucs should be.
Yes.
Especially defensively.
They should be 38 points a game.
Yes.
And
especially defensively. That defense was sick.
Yep.
That defense was sick. And then offense, Tom Brady just did what he was supposed to do. Don't make any bonehead decisions. This was, oh man, it's going to be hard for me to remember this, but I think this was one of the first times in NFL history where the Buccaneers offense had what they call a quote-unquote perfect game.
Sure.
No sacks, no interceptions, no drop passes, no fumbles, no interceptions. Scored 38 points. So I'll have to find that for you, and I'll have to tell you that. But
I mean, I
was listening to Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp talk about it, and Skip Bayless had said something about how that was one of the first times that the Buccaneers the league had seen what they call a perfect offensive game. Mm-hmm. And Tom Brady's passer rating was, I think, above 100.
Okay.
So I think that had something to do with it too. But
yeah, I mean, they did play really well. I don't want to take anything away from the Bucs. They played really, really well.
Absolutely.
Rams, Niners. Another team, I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, who are the Rams?
What, like, I was going to say, who are the Niners?
Who are both?
Because they're very confusing teams, where 6 games into the year, you think you know a team, and then all of a sudden you have no idea.
Because I thought the 49ers were done for after last game.
Right.
I really did.
And then Jimmy G and George Kittle really showed, why they were a Super Bowl contender last year. Defense played well. Obviously, 16 points to a Rams team that is no joke on offense. Mm-hmm. Why are the Rams having these games where they're only scoring 16 points? They did it against the Giants. They just did it again against the Niners.
It makes me very concerned.
Yeah.
Very concerned. Because I wouldn't necessarily say that. Actually, I'll take that back. The 49ers defense looked really good, actually.
They did look good.
They looked awesome.
Right. Better than they should.
Yeah, agreed. But still, even though you're supposed to have this touted offense that is supposed to be efficient, effective, put up a lot of points, you got to give us more than 16, especially with an injury-prone 49ers team. It's unacceptable.
And 24 points isn't something that you can't compete with as an offense.
Right.
I mean, granted, the Niners did well, but 24 points is not, oh no, it's too many points, we can't catch up.
You can't make that up, exactly.
There's no reason you should be only putting up 16 points.
Right.
Especially from what you've shown in previous games against better teams.
Right. Agreed.
Jimmy G's great in primetime, 7-1.
7-1 in primetime. I saw that stat. Yeah. It's good.
Let's hop over to Chiefs, Bills.
You want to know what the one is?
Oh, it was Super Bowl. I was like, is this a trick question?
The one you need the most.
Well, I don't think they're going to have to worry about that this year.
Nope, most likely not.
Chiefs, Bills. Bills look pedestrian. Chiefs ran the football. So you got your win.
245
what did we learn, Andy Reid?
rush yards.
What did we learn?
Hey, don't take it from us, but we sort of told you to do this, Andy Reid.
And he ran the ball. And he got his win against a really good football team.
That's it.
Bills are slowly showing that their defense is not as good as it looks on paper, and their offense needs a running back.
Big time. Big.
Josh Allen can only do so much. Josh Allen is not Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
Let's make that clear. Josh Allen is not Pat Mahomes. 14 of 27. I mean, hold on. Let's stop for a second. Time of possession. Let's get that stat. The Bills got annihilated in time of possession. 37 minutes for the Chiefs, 22 minutes for the Bills. That is why Josh Allen was only able to pass the ball 27 times.
Right, exactly. That's key.
Josh Allen ran 8 times, so if you get rid of those 8 carries by Josh Allen, they only ran the ball 15 times.
And not to mention, Josh Allen was their top runner.
Right.
In terms of yards.
Correct, 22 yards. They need a running back. They really should have tried to push for Le'Veon Bell. They really should have tried to give him a little more money. Because is he great? Not so much anymore.
We'll see.
But
I think he was also in a terrible situation too.
Correct. But is he better than Devin Singletary and Zach Moss? I know they just drafted one of those guys. I don't remember who. I don't remember which. I believe Devin Singletary.
I think so. Yep.
Is the guy they drafted from FAU. But is Le'Veon Bell better than those guys? Can Le'Veon Bell teach those guys about something about running the football?
You would like to think so.
So why are you not trying to fill a hole? I mean, I'm sure they tried, and maybe Le'Veon just wanted to go to the Chiefs because he knew it would be a good Super Bowl opportunity and all that kind of stuff. So it could have just been balls in his court. But there were running backs early on the block they could have stepped up and tried to get. You either have to get a better running back coach,
you're gonna have trouble,
or you need to get a better running back because this is a problem. Josh Allen can't carry your football team every single week. If Josh Allen has a bad game, your entire team has a bad game.
It's over, yeah.
And that's bad.
And that's what this game really revealed to me is that if Josh Allen isn't able to do extraordinary things, the Bills are in trouble.
He's got preseason game numbers, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
He looked like he played a half, if you look at his stats.
Yeah,
14,
seriously.
14, 27,
122 yards. That's it. That's nasty.
Right.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
That's not good.
And it's not good enough against the Chiefs.
No.
Chiefs are a good defense, sure.
Not that good, though.
But the Bills are a team that we've been looking at as a contender.
Right, he was
You
in the
want to
MVP
prove
running.
yourself as a contender, you need to... This score is deceiving. It was not 9 points worth of the Chiefs being better.
Right.
This really should have been a lot further out because the Chiefs beat them in every single statistic possible.
Yep. By a landslide,
So
too.
the Bills really need to take a look in on themselves and see what it is that they need to really fix about their football team because 4-2 is good and it'll get you into the playoffs. And we're getting into that mode where we're looking at playoff teams, but we're not looking at contenders.
Right.
And the Bills are teetering on, sure, you're a playoff team, but you're not a contender.
Exactly.
And that's what happens. And granted, the Chiefs will make you look bad, but you got to look better.
That's it. Yep.
Let's hop over to a game that's not really too much worth talking about. Cardinals 38, Cowboys 10. Kyler looked good. He looked better.
The Cowboys make every good quarterback look good.
That defense is so bad.
I'm just gonna roast the Cowboys the whole time we talk about this. Sound the alarms. Sound the alarms. Pull up the anchors, because we're jumping ship, boys. The Cowboys are done.
But you know what's sad?
The season is over.
You know what's sad?
The season's over.
They'll still make the playoffs because that division is awful.
So bad.
It's so bad. It's the worst division I've seen ever.
Yep. Agreed.
It's so bad. And the only reason any of them will go like above 5 wins is because they're at the point where they kind of have to. Because they have to verse each other. Someone's going to come out. I mean, the Eagles can still make the playoffs. The Giants are 1 game behind.
Let that sink in.
The Giants are 1 game. The Giants might win this division because they're the only team getting better every week.
The Giants might. They're 1 game behind being in first. They just got their first win.
Eagles almost beat the Ravens.
That
so
is insane.
They look good. And the Cowboys fans will immediately go, well, it's because we didn't have Dak. It ain't Dak Prescott.
Oh, it's that defense.
It ain't Andy Dalton that's the problem. It's your running back you pay that's got a $90 million contract. Fumbles twice.
The receivers dropping more balls than they catch.
Receivers dropping balls. Receivers slipping on the ground. That's what one of the picks that Andy Dalton threw happened was.
Mike McCarthy doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Mike McCarthy doesn't know what he's doing.
He has
the
no idea
defense
what
is a
he's
train
doing.
wreck.
Yeah. Like I had said, sound the alarms, pull up the anchors, because that ship is sinking.
I feel bad for Andy Dalton.
I do too.
Because he's got good receivers.
And he's a good quarterback.
And he is a good quarterback. And I'm not going to blame him until I feel like it's accurate to blame him. Maybe because I share a name with him. I don't know. But he's a good quarterback. And it's unfortunate that his team is not coming together to support him. And his head coaching is not coming together to support him in a good way.
Brutal.
Because Jerry Jones is going to look at it and he's going to say, oh, well, that quarterback position is really not getting us points on the board. But
I'll tell you what, Jerry Jones needs to get his nose out of the business operations and let his team win football games because he's as much to blame as anybody else.
Absolutely, because really you're building a team that's not built to succeed right now.
Right.
The offense is, but also they're fumbling the ball like crazy and they can't get a good play call in. Very quickly, Cardinals look good.
Very much so.
Tore apart that defense, as they should.
DeAndre Hopkins feasted.
They look like the Cardinals from the first 3 weeks.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see what they do. Again, another one of those teams that,
Who are you?
Right, who are you?
Who are
and
you?
I'm excited to see who they are.
Yep.
Bye week this week was Chargers, Raiders, Seahawks, Saints. Seahawks are probably annoyed they had a bye week. Saints needed the rest. Raiders
They're probably annoyed too.
probably annoyed too because they're doing better than they
Chargers
should be.
could use it.
Chargers are glad they got a bye week.
Yeah.
Get Justin Herbert's already lights out. I'm kind of mad I didn't get to watch him
Is it
play
Justin
football
or
this week.
Jordan?
Justin.
I always say Jordan. Why is that?
Justin Herbert. Because he's playing like Michael Jordan when he was
All
when
right,
he first got in the Bulls.
relax.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on second?
We're not. No, we ain't even going here. No. We ain't even going here.
When Jordan
bro.
first got to the Bulls, they were a bad team, and he was playing well, and the team, not so much. Justin Herbert's the same way. Not saying he's going to be the greatest football player of all time, but
all right, just make sure we're clear on that.
in that comparison of Justin Herbert's the best player on his team, and it's very clear, and the team's not winning football games.
Sure, I can get down with that. I can rock with that.
Justin Herbert is the best quarterback to not get a win yet.
Agreed.
He's probably off to the best 0-4 start of any quarterback in history. Best 0-4 start.
Never really thought about that stat before, but yeah.
I don't know what the stats are.
Right, for sure. But okay.
All right, let's get our...
That was week 6. So alrighty, y'all. That was it for Tuesday's edition of the Sit Down Sports Edition, where me and Andrew, we kind of dove into our week 6 recap, what we thought, what was good, what wasn't good. Don't forget to check back in on Thursday to see our week 7 picks, who we're going with, and to see who won in the week 6 predictions for the week. But until then, we'll see y'all later.